Hello, it's me again. Today I want to build something because I've got my fancy new Sugon A9 Pro soldering iron, and there's been lots of really good comments about this. Some people telling me that that the sponge is not a problem, and I have actually had some recollections from back in the day when I used to use a sponge. I used tap water and not very good quality tips. And it wasn't a good mix because the tap water in this area is rock hard. It's crunchy. And that, I think, was part of the problem. When I switched to distilled water, I had less of a problem, even though the tips I was using at that time were not the best quality, and it still was a little bit of a problem. But I then switched, because using distilled water was a pain, having to keep some source of distilled water handy to keep topping up the sponge as it dried out, it was just a pain. So I never bothered doing it, and I switched to a brass wool instead, and that seemed to serve me better, and I got used to it, and I think it's a better solution for me. But yeah, it seems to be one of those subjects that is quite controversial, and if you want to argue in my comments about it, feel free. But if you get sweary, I will just hide you from the comments. So keep it positive and keep it friendly, and you can discuss all you like, and you have all of your own opinions, just like I can. Anyway, I wanted an excuse to use this in anger, because I've only just basically put solder on the end of this and measured the temperature so far. I haven't really soldered anything. So I thought I'll build something. It's something that I've built before, but I want to build one of these, and this is a Versaterminus by Julian Brown of the Board Folk, and this is a special edition one that he made during the last charity stream. I did actually make one of these on the main channel to go with something. I forget what it was. I gave mine away with one of the auctions. I really can't remember which one it was, and I'm talking now, I've just remembered that, because I was thinking, where is my Versaterminus? Because I built one of these, but no, I need to build one for myself. So I did actually order, when I made the order for all the parts, I did order all of the bits and pieces to make this, which are all in here, and I've ticked them off of the bill of materials that you can find on Julian's GitHub, and I've even got a board map printed out. But the one I'm going to be building is this one in here, because Julian sent me another batch of these, because this batch had a problem with, what was it, with this, with one of these connectors. I think it was this one, where we had to rewire this to make it work on this batch, and I've got some of these older ones here, but he's fixed it on this batch and made some other changes as well. So I've got a bunch of boards here that he kindly sent direct, and I'm happy to give these away. I'm not sure how to do this. I'll do this on the Discord, so don't ask me in the comments, because YouTube comments it's great. I do appreciate your comments, and I do read all of the comments. There are quite a lot of comments, so I don't always get time to respond to all of them, but I do read all of them. But if you want a conversation with me about something, or request one of these maybe, then the best place to do that is the Retro Hardware Discord. So what this is basically a terminal. So you can, it uses a Pi Pico, and it has VGA and HDMI output, and you can connect it to your serial device. My use case would be an Amiga for using Diag ROM, and to see the serial output on that, but all sorts of other things, or another good use would be a KIM1, and you can connect with the breakout board. You can connect a KIM1 to a serial device and play chess on a serial terminal. The difference between this is he made the change with the where is it, the D sub over here, that was wired incorrectly. It was wired upside down. Actually, I can see the traces. I don't know if you can see that on here. The traces are mapped slightly differently on those. Anyway, that's one difference, and you can see there's a big hole here, and that's because to get the because you can plug a PS2 or a USB keyboard into this. I think that's the PS2 connector there, and the USB connector is this one right next to it. So these are the two keyboard connectors. I could never get the USB keyboard working on mine. I had to use PS2. Oh, it's a slightly different size board as well. But to get the USB keyboard working, you have to use the test points on the bottom of the Pico. There's TP2 and TP3. No, I think it's TP2 and TP1 have to be wired to these points here. And with the old version, he left some holes here so that you could run the wire through. But I actually soldered this on and then read that part of the instructions and had to take it off again to run the wires through to the back here somewhere. I don't know where they go on this one. Oh, they go to here. TP2. Oh, maybe it's TP2 and TP3. And on this one, yeah, TP3 and TP2 are right next to it. And with this in place, you can actually see the test points. If I line that up a bit better, you can still see the test points and just run the wires straight to there. Much, much better. Really nice implementation. Although, Julian, I would have liked the silk screen on the back to be TP1 and TP2 because you're not going to be able to see it. Stop the video. Just want to hold you up for a second there. Later on in the video, I have some, this is the finished thing, no spoilers. I have some really bad problems actually trying to program the Pico on here. And it's because there's a short that I didn't spot while I was soldering. And I'll just show you on the footage now, the freeze frame of this bit, where you can see there's a bare piece of trace between two legs on that chip position. And that's actually there from the very beginning before I do anything to the board. I can show you on this one here. There's nothing on this board. But yeah, that's a manufacturing error. Just thought I'd show you that. Carry on. But anyway, that's minor niggles. Right, so there's quite a lot of SMD components on here to solder, and got my microscope ready. And my new fancy soldering iron. I'm going to be using the wedge tip with it. But I have the option to switch to something a bit finer if I need to, because it's got its quick release thing. But yeah, basically it's just going to be me going through and building this and probably speeding up the footage. But let's get on with it. Right, first thing I want to solder is the capacitors, which are 100 nanofarad, are probably decoupling, I would imagine. And there are 5 of them. 2 there, C5 and C6. And just below there, C3, 4 and 7. Oh yeah, C3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. It's just all in this one place. So actually I'm going to put U3 on first because that's going to get in the way. No, I'm not. I'm going to do the capacitors. And here they are. 100 nanofarad, 50 volts. And I need 5 of them. I'm using my usual MG Chemicals 8341 no clean flux, which I have to clean. Oh my god, that's disgusting. This is all of the stickiness that you get from the flux. It's horrible. Yeah. And I'm going to do my usual trick of putting some tape down somewhere and having the flux sit on the tape and brushing it on. Good pair of tweezers. And my first time using this soldering iron in anger. I'm not really angry. I'm just disappointed. I'm not disappointed actually. Yeah. And we failed. Oh, that looks good. You can notice that this is a big ground plane, and normally if that pad was just part of the ground plane, like connected all the way around it, it would be very difficult to heat this pad. But Julian has made sure that there are small connections to the ground plane all around it. That should mean this is a bit easier to heat. Look at that. I'm just going to push that one down. Yeah. Marvellous. I've got a little bit of a nose on this one. Oh, it's still one. There we go. I will reflow them with hot air after. Spin it round, solder in the other ends. Capacitor's done. I'm ticking things off my list as I go. Placed. Right, resistors, 1K resistors. And I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these. 3 is there. 28. 27. 29 and 30. Why do they always fall out the wrong way up? Ping! Quack, 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 quack. Blobby, blobby, blobby. Ouch. Right, that's all of the capacitors and diodes are done now. Now I need to move on to the ICs. It does actually list on the bill of materials that the Raspberry Pi is next, but I'm going to leave that till last. So we're on to U3, which is a Max 232. It goes that way around. I'll put it there for a sec. Actually, no, I'm going to put it in place and brush the legs at the same time. Actually, there's one thing I do want to do before I go any further is reflow all of these resistors and capacitors. It's got bouncy legs. That's going to be tricky. I think that's all of the surface mounted done. As far as I can tell, I think I've got all of the surface mounted done, which leaves just the switches and the sockets and the Pico. So I'm going to start with the tricky one. I think that's got it. I'm just going to check those pins before I solder in the... Yep. Good stuff. I'll do these from the other side. You can see that's flowed up the side of the port onto this side. Nice, that went a lot better than I was expecting. Let's just move around, shall we? Do this one next. I think this is the VGA port. It's this little treacle. I should probably put the Pico in now, but I can't be bothered. I'm just doing it. I'm on a roll. Oh, this is a pain to line up. It's not going in. Right, that was actually a huge pain in the butt to get in there, but they're in. Good test for the new iron. Big chunky connector. Right, I'm going to relent and actually connect the Pico now. Beam extractor. I've chopped all of the ends of the pins off, and now I can solder it to the board. It's a bit rough, not that happy with that bit of it. Probably should have just soldered it straight down to the board. Ah well, it's done now. I'll come back and do the test points after. Oh, USB port. I forgot about this. Just want a bit more solder on this side. Like that. I am one component short. I'm missing the USB port. Oh, that's wonky as well. Yes, I can add the USB keyboard in later, or salvage one from somewhere maybe. But yeah, I'm not worried about the USB keyboard for now. It wasn't the thing I was using anyway. So I'm just going to ignore that and carry on with the other bits. I don't like using my new Knipex snips for this sort of thing. And the slidey switch. I'm going to leave the pin header for now. If I ever need it, I'll put it in. That just leaves the 2 buttons. Terminaled. Right, I just need to program the Pico with the software that's on the original GitHub page. David Hansel's Versaterm project. So we need to go there to get the firmware. Something is wrong. I've done something wrong because the Pico won't program. It's not recognised on the PC, so I need to check for bridges and shorts and things. Oh, what on earth is that? Why has that got... Was that there already? It looks like it might be bridged. Ah, it works. Right, so I think that this little bit here, you can see there's a bit of a trace that's not got any solder, solder mask on it that runs under. I think that was bridged. And if you look on the one that's not been soldered, that trace is ground, and I think it was shorting to one of the pins on either side. And I'll have to look at the footage to see if that was actually already bare. Interesting. So I need to clean this up, but let's give it a test. Right, I've plugged in my PS2 keyboard, HDMI, which is going off to my capture over there, and this is a power micro USB, and I'm just going to plug it into my wall outlet now, and hopefully, hey, we have a working Versaterminus revision 1.1. If I remember, press F. I can't actually, because it's not actually connected to anything, I'm not going to be able to do anything, but I can get into the settings and do things in here if I wanted to, but I'm not going to change anything because that's all I wanted to do. So I'll come back to the Versaterminus at some point in the future. There's not much I can show you about that now. The point of this exercise was to try out the new soldering station, and that has been a success. The tip performed really well for drag soldering and small soldering. I didn't need to change it for any of the, like, I've got this tiny little, very, very narrow pointed, so sharp one that I was thinking I might use on something like the HDMI connector at the back there, but didn't need it. Just lots of flux and good drag soldering and it works. Did have that short, but that was resolved. Everything seems to have gone really well. I do need to clean it up. The soldering station has performed exactly as hoped. I did feel that the tip, I'm not sure why this is, compared to the Hacko tip, when I used original Hacko tips, after a short while of having solder on the end of the tip, it does tend to oxidize. I'm not sure if it's oxidizing. Well, I suppose it is oxidizing and go brown a bit more, and I have to keep cleaning it more often. But it's less of a problem with this one because you know, the brass wool is right there for me to clean it very often. I clean it every time. So I was finding if I was doing a number of SMD components, by the time I got to the third or fourth one, I'd have to clean the tip. Didn't necessarily have to do that with the Hacko. That's the only small niggle, and I think I can solve that by buying some original JBC tips, but they're about £30 each. The exercise was a success. I'm really happy with my new soldering station, and I hope the person that bought the Spectrum is happy with their ZX Spectrum. That should be there today. I haven't heard anything from them yet. I'm hoping to. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.